On and is there an on and off for this? Oh, you have the microphone. Hello. Good morning.
Well, I'm going to sing this first song. Hi, everybody. As we get kind of warmed up and settled in, feel free to sing along. Just let yourself be here. Does love have an open door? Welcome, stranger. Give us your tired and poor. All those in need. Oh, dreamer, teach us to dream. Oh, children, we want to see again. Oh, what a beautiful world, what a beautiful world. Oh, what a beautiful world, what a beautiful world. Come every weary soul, find your haven. Liberty is for all who can breathe free. Oh, dreamer, teach us to dream again. Oh, children, we want to see again. Oh, what a beautiful world, what a beautiful world. Oh, what a beautiful world, what a beautiful world. We say land of liberty, pretend equality. Let freedom ring, let freedom ring. Does the cost of security bankrupt our humanity? Let freedom ring, let freedom ring. Does love have an open door? Oh, what a beautiful world, what a beautiful world. Oh, what a beautiful world, what a beautiful world. Oh, what a beautiful world, what a beautiful world. Love have an open door. Well, once again, hi. Everybody here? Everybody mostly here? Well, my name's Chris. If we haven't met, hi. And let me just say that it's good to be here with you. We're just kind of settling in as we get here. I don't know what your morning has looked like so far, but It's easy for mornings to feel kind of harried, kind of busy and whatnot. So I'd encourage you to just let yourself be here, to settle in, to take some deep breaths. And if you would, I mean, as always, do what feels right with your body, but I encourage you to stand up, sing this together as we get started. This is it's a song that we used to sing a lot together and haven't much lately, but as we talk about Care IQ, about caring for each other, about finding good ways of of being true to us and to each other, this song came to mind for me, and it's called Beautiful Things. Thanks. Yeah. Go ahead and have a seat, please.
All right. Welcome, Fabric. Welcome, everybody. I'm Bill. I'm going to do the welcome today, and I also get to be the moderator, taking any of the questions you guys have and sharing it with the two amazing people we get to hear from in conversation. Today, we're doing Care IQ. And I was asked, what is something that's one of your favorite things about Fabric? And Care IQ is it. It's an amazing toolbox that helps me help others and help myself. Speaking of helping yourself, if you feel like you need coffee, tea, or water, it's all over there. The bathrooms are around the corner. There's a non-binary, gender-inclusive bathroom. Just follow the arrows, and you can find that. Our kids get to start here in the Commons, but I believe right now, correct? Or yep. Our kids get to move on with Heidi and Maya and head on out of the Commons. I hope you were able to pick up a Sunday paper. I remember one time in my group, we were talking, and somebody mentioned that they don't fill this out. And I was kind of blown away. I thought you had to. You don't have to, but it's there to kind of follow along and kind of help you. I'm a fifth grade teacher, and I think about how being able to take this information in multiple ways, using your kinesthetic motion and also your hearing and visual, really helps it connect more deeply with you. I think that's something really important that Fabric gets to do. We get to practice now when we're in a safe space where it's a little bit easier. So when we're out in outside of this space, we can do the work that we need to do to help and to help ourselves. So speaking of that, I'm going to move us on to the greeting because we've got a lot to do today. So the greeting today, I'm going to suggest just saying hi. And if you're like one person I know, go and grab some coffee and avoid the greeting. Or you can also just mention what's something you've done this week to kind of keep yourself healthy. That's one of the key components of the Care IQ toolkit. If you can't keep yourself healthy, you're not going to be able to help others. Or to kind of get the ball rolling and for you and what they're going to be talking about today. When's the time that you were having a really difficult conversation, something that was really hard, that you didn't quite know what to do to help somebody? So, welcome. If you're new, welcome to Fabric. We're glad to have you here. And go ahead and touch base with the people around you.
All right, well, thank you for connecting. I'm going to sing one more here. This is a good equalizer, right? It's called Everybody's Hurting. It's by Jacob Dylan. You could even just sing along with this one line. It just goes, everybody's hurting. Try that. Everybody's hurting. Everybody's hurting. Yep, that'll keep coming back. Been walking the dirt floor. My eyes are open, Lord. Where did you go? Have we just left you bored? Down this unhealthy well we roll, stirring barrels in hell to be warm. It's further back down than the high ground. Ain't milk and honey, we're moving round. Only one thing is certain. Got this? That's everybody. Everybody's hurting. We come from the country where the rain follows plow and the evenings are cold enough to pluck your feathers out. We hear your engines roaring deep and loud as we work the mules on this bludgeon ground. We've hunted these hills dry, we've long outlasted the winter in our last wood pile. Already know where this learning. Oh, that's everybody. Everybody's hurting. Through rolling acres of boneyards we drift. Our spirit's been broken, been splintered to bits. Faith is believing what you see ain't so. But my sweetheart, we gotta learn to live with these ghosts. They can't leave, we can't go. Ooh, ooh, We'd sell this valley if we could go north where the sun sets dripping buckets of gold. With snow-topped windows and spring clouds coming down this mountain, our sweet salvation sounds with our hands out like lowly pilgrims as the old men death salute the young ones in. Already know what we're just learning. That's everybody. Everybody's hurting. Everybody's hurting. You sing that? Everybody's hurting. Thanks.
Chris, I don't know how you do that. The feet, the guitar, the singing, it's pretty amazing. Another hand for Chris. I don't know why I love that song so much. Everybody's hurting. Everybody's hurting. There's something nice, I think, about the honesty, maybe. I'm not alone in hurting. I'm guessing all of us can relate to that line because we're part of the everybody. And we're here together. That means there's a little bit of hoping going on too, some hurting, some hoping. And that's something we can do together is hold both of those things at the same time. It seems they almost go together sometimes, the hurting and the hoping. So we're here. I don't know who knew if you've heard about this news yet, but I was just learning about the Lunar New Year yesterday and the day before, and really interested in that, all that celebrating and all the different ways people gather and how exciting of a time of year it is for many communities. And then this morning, I thought, with all that hopefulness of a new, there was another mass shooting in our country, in LA. And I hate to say that, right? Again, the 5th one this month. Everybody's hurting. And I think hurt people hurt people. So we're here to be about healing together, to tend to that hurt and to tend to the hope together too. So yeah, just to be here, thank you for bringing your whole selves. Thank you to all of our guests in the seats up here with me. Thank you for people connecting with us from wherever they are on live stream today, and however they're feeling this morning, and on podcasts to come. Just grateful for being able to connect in these healing spaces. Yeah, so I'm Melissa, and I welcome you, whether you're feeling more on the hurting side or the hoping, healing side. It's all good. Welcome. I hope you got a Sunday paper on the way in. It has one of these bookmarks we're going to be talking a lot about in there. We're talking about CareIQ, as Bill said, and if it was, as easy as a bookmark and listening to a few podcasts, we wouldn't need to talk about this, right? But it's not that easy at all. So that is why I'm so glad to have Jen Markworth with us today, here to help. And we were going to also include Chris Lillahai, who is a chaplain at Children's and also a professional in caregiving, and he is home with the stomach flu. So get better, Chris, in case he jumps in with a live stream comment. Make sure you tell him, Bill, that we love him, miss him. But Jen and I are going to have plenty to talk about. You have plenty to share with us. So Jen is, as you can see in the Sunday paper, besides being a licensed psychologist, is currently serving as a training director with Lynn Lake Centers for Wellbeing. And she oversees the training department with the clinical supervision program, internship program, and professional development. So you're training the trainers. So, we got the best of the best here, people. Right, Jen? So you pretty much know everything?
No, I do not know everything. So that's the first disclaimer, is even though I am in the biz and have been in the biz for a while, I don't have all the answers. I far from have all the answers. And I am not a fixer. I don't fix anyone. And what I hope to bring today is from my experience and the lens that I've lived through and worked through, and some of the things that I've experienced that I hope will be helpful for everybody. But it's definitely just from my experience, and I am one in a sea of many, many amazing other mental health professionals who we do this work together in community and collaboration. So, yeah. But I'm super thrilled to be here and be a part of this conversation. So, thanks for letting me be here.
Yay, thank you, Jen. There are, even though nobody has all the answers, right? There are perspectives and practices that we can wrestle with together. So that's what we get to do today. And there's people, Mark and Hannah are passing out bubbles. Just take them. I don't know why. Jen just said people should have bubbles. So just accept it. We'll find out later, right? I also want to say thank you to Bill for that awesome welcome. And Bill is ready for your questions this morning by Post-it notes. You can run them down here to him. You can also text the number that's on the top of the Sunday paper on the back. Go for it, Joe. Get her started. So text questions there, or live streamers, put in your comments. Before we jump in, we got someone else to meet. I think that might be me.
I think it is.
I really want you to meet Jack, though, to help us remember, what are these tools we're talking about?
Hi, this is Jack. He's confused and, well, kind of disappointed in himself. You see, Jack just met up with his friend who was going through some tough times, and as it turned out, the times were a lot tougher than he knew. Jack tried to cheer his buddy up, but nothing worked. He had no idea what to say or do. It was awkward. Now, his stomach hurts, and he's afraid he might have done more harm than good. Something Jack did do right was deciding to talk about this with his friend, who's a therapist. His friend explained how some problems just don't go away. And maybe Jack was frustrated and felt so helpless because he was trying to fix something that couldn't be fixed. He told him that when you get into those kinds of unresolvable situations, you need a whole different care IQ. He also said Jack was going to need a whole new toolbox for those types of situations. And this was a great opportunity to start filling it. Jack was trying to imagine what kind of tools he would have in a toolbox like that. A hammer and a screwdriver didn't quite seem appropriate. His friend laughed and agreed. Then he asked him a question.
If you can't just do something to make everything okay for your friend, what is your role?
Good question.
That question is your first tool. What is your role?
You know, I'm not sure, but I know I can't be the only one he depends on during this, and I can't make the changes he needs. He's going to have to do that by himself.
Perfect. Tool number 2. We call those boundaries. They're really important. Getting pulled in where you aren't able or prepared to go doesn't help your friend, and it probably won't go well for you either.
I guess my role is to listen.
Tool number 3, listen. And not just listen, but listen deeply. Don't indulge in a pity party, but do validate his feelings. They're real, and he needs you to acknowledge them.
Can I ask questions?
Sure. Not to solve his problem, but sure. Ask questions to better understand. He'll appreciate that, and you'll learn a lot. And feel free to check your understanding with him with, "It sounds like you're," or "you mean that you feel," kind of statements. You want to understand your friend's situation from his perspective, not yours. That takes a deeper listening than we practice most of the time.
Wow, this is a lot. Are there other tools?
Professionals go to school and practice this for years, so yeah, lots more. But don't worry, you're not trying to be a professional, just a friend who can support in a toolbox moment like this. Your friend's progress is not your responsibility, but you can be helpful with just these basic skills.
Makes sense. So, what else?
Well, you're going to want to do something, so ask. What could I do that would be helpful for you today? If they don't know, give them some examples. Real things that you feel comfortable promising.
Like what?
Well, it depends on the situation. Maybe help with transportation for a doctor visit. Asking around for a recommendation for a therapist or a financial coach. A good lawyer. Whatever the situation is. Maybe it's offering to meet once a week, or to send a couple of supported text messages to them every week.
Okay, boy, this is a lot. I think I'm gonna need help, and my friend is gonna need a lot more help than I can give.
Mention. Why? Can you enlist them? What about his family? Do they know what's going on? Can you be in touch with them? You should get your friend's permission to talk to these other people, but reaching out to expand the circle might be something he isn't able to do and would love for you to do.
I think I need to expand my own circle too.
Wow, your care IQ is rising fast, Jack. There's just one last tool. Take care of yourself. Talk to the people who support you and let them be a sounding board for you. It can be hard to keep perspective all by yourself in these toolbox moments.
Jack did a lot of thinking over the next couple days. He wished he'd known all of this a long time ago, but at least he was learning it now. He didn't want to wait for the next crisis to come up to start using these skills, so Jack started practicing using his new tools in lots of situations to get to know them better. Maybe next time he won't walk away feeling so helpless and frustrated, worried about having done more damage than actually helped. Jack also made the commitment to stick with his friend, even though there wasn't anything he could do to make everything okay. His friend appreciated the support, and Jack was learning a lot in the process. In fact, he wondered sometimes who was helping who the most.
I guess we're all caregivers and care receivers all the time.
That's pretty cool, Jack. Nice toolbox.
I want to give a shout out to the script writer, Greg Meyer, the voice actors from the Kennedy family, including the producer, Elliot, and Chris Tripolino, our animator extraordinaire. And I have to say, I love the enthusiasm with the arms. I mean, we need to speak with our arms more, people. Okay. So, Jen, we've gotten a lot of professional affirmation that these tools are strong, that they're great. And I have heard someone say, and I really like this, that they really help care to flow. So that, if you have a Sunday paper, that is the first outline. If you're competing with Bill to guess the fill-ins ahead of time, he likes to do that. You're such a nerd. Yeah. But that is the first big concept here to me, is we're about helping care flow, both in the giving and the receiving. And there's so much nuance and challenge as we actually try to do that. When we try to put these tools to work and we try to use them in the real world, they look so clean and tidy on this bookmark, and it's not like that, right? So I thought that'd be a great way to start, is just places or ways that you've seen, Jen, where care gets stuck, where we get stuck as we're trying to be giving care that's actually helpful.
Absolutely. And first to think about, in this example, when Jack is having a friend who's going through something difficult and not knowing how to respond. And one of the things I've experienced, both professionally and personally, is that we have a tendency to, when something really challenging is coming at us, we kind of go into our fight or flight, our mode. And so we want to jump in and we want to fix it all for them and give them all kinds of advice and tell them exactly what we think they should do, or bounce them out. I don't know how possibly to help this person. This feels really, really scary. I need to run away. And so and some folks freeze. I mean, that's another response we have when we're feeling some sort of threat. And that can be, our system can take that as a threat when we're not sure how to respond, when we're not sure what to do. So I've seen people kind of go both ways.
So it's kind of like, I want to jump in and be the hero, or I'm out, I'm completely helpless, or at least I want to pretend I am. It's too uncomfortable.
Too uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or intense. The discomfort could be for all kinds of reasons. I don't have enough tools. I'm experiencing, my own stuff. So it's not from a place of not wanting to help, but just having our own reaction to the situation, which can be really hard.
Yeah. I can't relate to that at all. Anyone else?
Jen and Melissa, I have a question from somebody, and I think it kind of
Oh,
goes
good,
into
they're
this.
coming in.
And it falls under the widening the circle. What do you do when the person, from your perspective, from a number of people's loved ones' perspectives, needs professional help and won't seek it out?
And won't seek it out?
Yes, that the person is not ready, you know.
Sure. Yeah, that's a really, really hard one. I know I've experienced that in my own life with loved ones and both friends and family. I think one of the things that we can do on just an individual level is be extremely consistent with our words and our actions with that person, to let them know that we are there no matter what. We can't necessarily, in some instances, they're going to have that epiphany or that action within to want to make change, but we can be a consistent, loving energy and presence in their life. And I think that can go a long ways in helping them whenever they're ready to make those changes. Now, if it's an emergency or a crisis, sometimes we have to kind of amp up or ramp up what we do in terms of supporting them. We do have a resource that we're going to talk about a little bit later that's kind of relates to if it's more of a crisis mode, what folks can do. But my initial thought is just being that consistent, loving presence for them. It may sound like it's nothing, but it's huge to be a consistent presence in someone's life.
It's actually a really great question, illustrating like how easy it would be to get stuck in like, this is too scary, I need to force something that you actually can't force, or I can't handle this.
Yeah.
And remembering, wait, we do have things we can do that we might not think are enough.
Yes, absolutely.
I kind of think that is an interesting connection with the second place that you mentioned when I asked you this about common places where we get stuck or where care kind of gets stuck. Can we jump to that one?
Sure.
That tendency to insert ourselves, right?
Yes. Yeah. We're going to do our role play? Or?
Yeah, maybe just, we're going to do a role play and you can just feel it. We don't even have to explain it. So for real, I can share that I was recently visiting my parents, and I want to say, if this is the one time ever that my dad listens to the podcast, I love you, Dad, and maybe this will be a good entry point for us to talk, because when I was with them last weekend, it was kind of a roller coaster, Jen, with seeing my dad's dementia, I think, and I think there's some alcohol complicating the situation, and one minute he's this person I love and who has loved me, and he's so affectionate to me and to my stepmom and just this, loving presence, but then there's this other person who I hardly know, and just seeing his life kind of shrink from this very engaged, thoughtful, conversational person who is having a lot of trouble, and I don't even think he kind of knows who he is and recognizes his own self sometimes, and it is really awful to watch and hard to see,
Yeah. Wow. So, two responses. One could be, that so reminds me of my uncle. That happened to my uncle's family, and my aunt, I know what she did. She decided to move my uncle into assisted living, and that was so helpful for the family. So I so relate, that also happened to my uncle.
All right, thanks. So let's try another one, Jen. That felt...
And we're doing this role play also so that you can sort of experience what happens in your own body when you hear the role play and you hear the response. And not that this is I think that this is a really common response, that we're wanting to join with the other person, and it brings up our own experiences. And so we want to jump in and share also, like, I get it,
Yeah,
that happened to me too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Yep. So it's it's a very human thing to do, but I also want you to notice how you feel in your body when that happens and what it brings up for you. Now,
I can just say, I have had that happen and have seen it, and I felt like unseen and like, oh, suddenly this isn't about me anymore, and I guess my story doesn't really matter. It's not really that important. Maybe I should just chill out or something, or maybe this shouldn't be so hard. That's kind of how it felt to me. So what else can we try?
yeah. So one thing to think about, and especially I think too, we don't always know what to say, and so we want to launch into something. One thing to think about is just, it's really simple, is just, wow, that's a lot. That's really a lot. Your family is really going through some stuff. It's a lot.
Someone said that to me this week, for real, and it felt good. Yeah. So, thank you.
Yeah. So in that, in just being present, again, sometimes it's just the simple of just acknowledging the tough stuff. You don't have to fix it. You don't necessarily have to run away. You can give yourself a moment to pause and just be present with the person, to acknowledge that it's a big deal.
So does that mean, like if I was telling you this, and I know you're in a similar age bracket and your parents are around, and you might be, you actually are dealing with this. So I am interested in your experience. It's not that I don't want to hear about your experience, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, yes, so the thought though is we don't want to hijack what's happening for the other person with our own story right away. First to acknowledge and just be present with them. And then it may be after, I'm really hearing what you're saying is that's really hard. And I get it because our family's going through some of the same stuff. And it really is hard to see our parents get older and struggle and not know always how to help them, and to take on being that caretaker for our parents. It's really tough.
Yeah, I've had, like, I can imagine saying, I don't know if you're interested, but let me know if you ever want to talk about, hear what it was like, for my family, or hear if you want me to connect you with someone else I know who's maybe going through this. Let me know if that's helpful. It kind of comes to that. How can I be helpful?
Yeah.
Like actually trusting the person to know and tell you what they need and when.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, is it bubble time? Yeah.
It could be, yeah. It would
So what
actually
do
be
we
a really
do?
good bubble time.
So what should people do?
Who has bubbles? Can you take them out and blow some bubbles?
That's it. Just blow
Well,
some bubbles.
Just start.
All right.
Just blow some bubbles.
And do we have any questions, Bill? Any additional?
We do. We
Yeah.
actually have
Why don't we jump in on a couple?
we have a follow-up because
Okay.
I think what's interesting is you are modeling a situation where you're providing care to kind of tertiary, not directly to the people in crisis, but the people who are around the people in crisis. The question that I had asked was around helping somebody directly in crisis in that kind of caregiver role. Somebody followed up with, sounds like there's some boundaries that need to be set too. So
Yeah.
I think that's another piece that a lot of people struggle with is how do I keep loving this person when they are hurting themselves over and over again?
Yeah.
And I need that to change for myself, so.
Yeah. I just want to mention, as people are blowing bubbles, I want you to think about what you notice about the bubbles. The people that aren't blowing the bubbles, if you can look at the bubbles that are being blown, and just notice, just take in what you're noticing about the bubbles and blowing the bubbles. Coming back to this question, one of the things we talked about is the first part of the toolkit being, excuse me, what is my role? And, Melissa and I were talking about, when I look at this list, this isn't a linear list, that you go down the line, or you have your toolbox and you just take out, they're all organized and ordered and you take them out orderly. That really, I think this keeping yourself healthy is actually awesome that it's at the bottom, because it really reinforces everything else that's on the list. And so with boundaries, understanding, being able to care for yourself and have ways that you are caring for yourself so that you can be centered and present for yourself, and that if you can work on your own self-care, that's going to affect all of these other things with figuring out what your role is, understanding what your boundaries are. Maybe my boundary is I can't do everything. I don't have the bandwidth to do the everything for you, but I can text you. I can say, hey, let's go for a walk. I can bring you coffee. These are the things that I can do. But I think you have to have some good self-awareness of where your limitations are in order to do that and be present for someone else.
I feel like that circle, the widening the circle for me, you as the caregiver, is so huge there, because sometimes we can't see what is going on by ourselves. Like, it's so hard to have that perspective on what I need and what I'm like, that it's normal, that I'm feeling like I'm going crazy because I can't make my loved one do the thing that I see so clearly, and just to have other people like be with me and helping me see what I can do to take care of myself. I don't know, like you mentioned something you heard here like years ago.
Yes.
Does that come to mind?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to get this completely right, but this is what I remember from it and what I still take from it. I am only one, and I cannot do everything, but I can do something, and I won't let what I can't do stand in the way of what I can do. And I don't know how close I got it to what it originally was, but that idea of I may be only one, but I can do something, and that's going to be enough. And yes, I'm going to reach out. Who are the other people in this circle that I can reach out to? You can do research if it's somebody who really needs therapy or treatment, widening your circle of who are the professionals that can help you with those resources. NAMI, Minnesota is a really good resource for families who are struggling with loved ones going through difficult things. They can be a great resource. That can be all aspects of mental health, crises and issues.
I put that number for COPE on the
COPE.
side of the Sunday paper.
COPE.
You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, we'll just go into that now since the follow-up question is strong.
Yeah.
So COPE is another resource. It's through the county, and it's a 24-hour crisis service where if there's something happening in the home and there's a crisis, you're not sure. It may not be that your loved one is necessarily in imminent harm to hurt themselves, but there's a concern and you're feeling like you need extra help in the situation. They will come to your home and they will help you assess what's happening and help you create a plan for how to address whatever is going on. And that could be that they recommend, if someone says, I cannot promise that I'm going to keep myself safe, they may recommend going to the emergency room and seeking out the potential for being hospitalized to keep the person safe. They can't transport anybody, but they can come to the home. That's for all ages. That can be for adolescents and kids, and that could be for adults as well. So that is a great resource in Hennepin County. I believe in other counties there are similar programs as well, but this is the one that I'm familiar with in Hennepin County. So there's a little bit more of a specific tool, a resource.
For pretty serious
for something pretty
situations.
serious.
And if we don't know, we can always call the number and they'll help us know.
They'll help you, yeah,
like,
figure it out.
What is this that where am I, what's going on? Yeah.
And I think maybe just to say right now also, we know that this is a really hard time of the year coming off of the holidays. I mean, even the practice that I work at, we saw a huge increase in folks reaching out for services right after Christmas. You know, there's a lot that happens in the holidays, and it's a tough time. And so just an awareness that this can be a harder time for people just in general also. So to be checking in on your people. And I know there's been a lot of conversation I've seen around, you know, so there's some recent folks in the media who have completed suicide that, you know, well, I had no idea, and they seem so put together, and that can be true, and just to continue to reach out and try and continue to connect, and that through that connection and consistency, to know that person knows that you're there for them.
It's okay to talk about it, right?
It's okay to talk about it, yep. Because you bring it up doesn't mean that that's going to push the person into doing something to hurt themselves. In fact, it may help them to know that it's okay to talk about, that you're okay, that you can be that person, that space for them to talk about it. Or it could be a boundary setting with, I'm not sure I can handle, I have the skills or the bandwidth, but if that's what's happening for you, I want to help you with it, and let's figure out together, you know, how can I help you with that, and how do we widen the circle for what you might need to help you in that situation.
You shared something interesting with me. I thought was helpful, that it's fairly common to have like ideation for self-harm or suicide.
Absolutely.
And that is hard for me to say out loud. And sort of, I kind of get it, like just a thought, like a, you know, right? I mean, I'm
yeah,
gonna let you
so
say it.
there's research that through the course of our lifetime, that all human beings at some point will have some sort of depressive episode, whether it's something chemically or it's an event in their life, but that we as human beings, that is something that we will experience at some point for some period of time in our life. And with that, then, it's very common for folks to have questions about, you know, existential questions about the meaning of my life, the meaning of being alive, or to feel so overwhelmed that you just want to check out, whatever check out means. That doesn't necessarily mean that someone wants to end their life, but that folks get to the point where we're so overwhelmed, we want whatever is difficult to stop. And so to normalize it's a human experience, and that, again, if we can talk about it together, it takes away, I think it takes away some of the shame and the fear, which when we're in shame, we feel very isolated and alone. But when we can share, it helps us feel humanity together, just like sharing about your dad, and for me to then share about my parents, to bring us together. You're not alone. We're in this together. So yes, it's common, and it's okay to talk about, and yes, to know your boundaries. I can only do so much. I can do this much, but I can't do that much. Is A-okay.
So,
It's hard.
we have more questions, or follow-up, actually. Like this idea of supporting somebody who's struggling, if the person won't seek the professional help they need, they're dealing, you know, with alcoholism, drug, health choices, eating disorders, and we stand by as consistent support, there's a worry that we're enabling that
Yep.
destructive behavior.
Yeah.
So
I totally get that, and that's absolutely true. And I think that's why also widening that circle, using resources like COPE, using resources like NAMI, to reach out to professionals.
Recovery groups.
Recovery groups, yes, to get their resources. You know, this could be a follow-up conversation, I would say offline also, for other more specific resources, because there's different, it's hard to go into right now in this setting, but with adult mental health and things that people can and can't do in order to force someone to get care is, there's different laws and so forth that limit sometimes what we can and cannot do. So a combination of yes, we don't want to enable the person, but we do want to be consistent. And how can you widen that circle to find those other resources that can potentially help?
I feel like asking that question in the first place is a good sign. Like, okay, I want to pause, which is one of the things you've talked about, is that power of pausing and even asking the question. And so it's 11:27 already? How is
Yeah.
that possible? Are there a lot of questions?
I was just going to follow up with
To follow up to that, it also sounds like the people who are the caregivers widening their circles, like how Jack talked to a professional to ask, what should I be doing? To understand better of what is harmful and what is helpful in that situation might be a valuable thing for people to do if they find themselves in these situations where they feel like they're enabling destructive behaviors and aren't sure how to support their loved ones.
Absolutely.
And I think that's such a common question in
Yep.
the recovery circles and Al-Anon and groups like that.
Yep.
It is a real question, a messy one, yeah.
So
Do you
one thing
wanna-
we talked about that I'd really like to get to, and it kind of deals with the bubbles,
Good, perfect.
Yeah.
This is so helpful.
is to talk about, again, when I talked about, number 1 through 6, the keep yourself healthy part. I really, really believe that to be able to, utilize all these other things, it's really how are you taking care of yourself? And mindfulness practice, there's different mindfulness practices that can be extremely helpful, especially in that something's coming at you and it's, oh my gosh, I don't know how to deal with this. In how our own systems get amped up or react in ways that we can work on centering ourselves so that we can be grounded and figure out ways that we can respond so that we're not jumping in, we're not running away, we're not hijacking.
We're not enabling.
We're not enabling.
As best we can, yeah.
Right, yep. And so this idea of power of the pause is how do we slow ourselves down in order to kind of assess what's happening for ourselves so that we can be grounded. So bubbles. I love bubbles because, and I keep them in my office, because when you blow a bubble, you have to breathe. Basic number 1. You have to breathe. And, if we're not breathing, we're not, our body isn't regulated. And so just initially breathing and thinking about, we also know in our nervous systems, if we have a shorter in-breath and a longer out-breath, we're activating our parasympathetic nervous system. I think of it as like a parachute. So it brings us down. It signals our body to relax. So blowing a bubble.
Yeah.
It's having a physical reaction on our body. It's also helping us stay in the present. We watch the bubbles. We can watch them move. We can watch them pop. And so it helps us to stay in the present. We're not judging. We're just being present with it. And it's also helping us to be childlike, which, okay, I'm guilty of this. How many of us adults are way too adult and don't take time to play?
Yes.
Like 2 arms, right? So blowing bubbles is a wonderful mindfulness practice to get you centered. And I'm just going to crank through these.
Yeah,
Okay.
crank through.
So we also have on your handout RAIN, and you have some fill-ins, and so I'm going to go through what the fill-ins are. So RAIN is an acronym. It's really developed by Tara Brach, and she's a psychologist. She's also does a lot of meditation work and self-compassion work. She actually has a toolkit that you can, or a self-guide you can download for free about RAIN and multiple types of meditations that you can do with this concept. I use this, a flavor of this with clients all the time. I use it with myself. So You first have what is happening, thoughts, feelings, behaviors. First, you want to recognize. The first thing is, so think you're driving down the road, and you're noticing that you keep perseverating, you keep ruminating on something you said, something you didn't say, a thought or a feeling that you had, and we can relate this to a conversation with somebody who's going through a really tough time. And you're like, I just can't stop thinking about this. So the first thing is recognizing what's happening. The second part, the experience, is to allow and or accept the experience to be there, accept it just as it is. Okay, wow, I am experiencing this big, huge discomfort, whether it's whatever it is, I'm just gonna let it be there. I'm not gonna judge it. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm just going to accept. I may even thank it for showing up. Thank you, anger. Thank you, shame. Thank you, discomfort, for showing up.
Wait, wow.
Yep.
This is big.
Because
this is where people get stuck, I think.
Yep. Just let it be. And it's hard. It's hard. Yeah. But if you can thank it, because it's sending you some information, it's giving you some messages about what's happening in your system and what you need to attend to for yourself. And then the next is to investigate with interest and care, whatever that comes up.
Still no judgment.
No
just
judgment. Curiosity. What is it my system needs? What is this trying to tell me? What do I need in this moment? Why is this showing up now? And you have to do the allow and accept before you do the investigate.
That's okay. Welcome back, kids.
Because if you don't do the accept and the allow, you're going to go into the investigate with all kinds of judgment. So you have to just let it be before you can get curious. And then once you get curious, maybe something comes up. Oh, wow, this is triggering that part of me that just really, really doesn't want to disappoint people. There it is again. Oh, wow, this is about my people pleaser part. I just always really, I really want to make people happy. Okay. Oh, this is triggering that memory. Their experience is triggering my memory that is full of emotion and sadness. And I didn't realize that was going to come back and hit me right now. Okay. And sometimes we get nothing. We investigate and nothing comes up, and that's okay too. And then the last part is nurture with self-compassion. Okay, now I've gone through this. What can I do to take care of myself? And we are horrible at self-compassion. I even say that to clients about self-compassion, and they're like, ooh, self-compassion, that's, ooh, yuck. I don't want to do that. But it's so, so important. Because if we can do that, then we can come back to all of these things with figuring out what our boundaries are, figuring out how to listen, figuring out how to ask the other person, how to widen the circle. All of those things can flow out of this practice. So I love it. RAIN, it's easy to remember. Again, you can go to Tara, her website, and find out more information about it as well. There's the whole meditations you can do on it as well. So there's no right or wrong about it either.
So when does the judgment come in? It does feel like it creates space where we choose, right? We notice, we're curious, and then we can make new choices out of, to me, that big space of where I can breathe again and like, oh, I'm okay. What do I need? What do I want? What do I want to do? Like, making a new choice can happen, it feels like there, where it couldn't before. So, powerful stuff. I want to invite people to come talk to us after this about specific things if you need to, because we are not getting to many questions as usual. Really great questions and thinking and practicing in this community. I really appreciated your just encouragement, and I think we all need that, Jen.
Yeah, well, and that you're having these conversations and being present for this is huge. I mean, it's just huge, and it's wonderful. and trust that you all know some stuff about how to be comforting and be with humans. Trust that you, for all the things that we feel like we don't have answers for, trust that you do have some answers and you do have some skills and things that you can offer. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be really simple, and that can be enough.
Can be enough. And that's why, I mean, I truly am so grateful to get to practice this and talk about it. I know in my own group, we were talking about how much easier it is to ask for help when you know everyone else is thinking about boundaries and thinking about that they are also a caregiver and a care receiver, and they're trying to take care of themselves. It's so much easier to ask for help then, and it's so much easier to offer help knowing that it's going to be okay to say, oh, I can't today, I can't do that. What about this? Or what else could be helpful? You know, we're doing this together. It's not me as an island trying to be everything or figure everything out. So thank you so much, whether this is your first time here or you're super plugged in and you've been through the trenches on this. I know there are a lot of us that have here as a community. This is real life that we're gathering around. And I mean, we're all way too busy to do something on Sunday morning that doesn't connect to our real lives. If God said love each other, and it was real easy, we wouldn't need to do this. We could be having brunch today, people. Excuse me, getting excited. But we are here, and to me, that's like, if this isn't sacred work, I don't know what is. We've got ourselves that we're caring for. We've got others, including our youngest people, who are caring for us, and we're caring for them. And this third strand, this mysterious, big, all that is strand out there, this God strand, this energy, this force of life that is on our side and is a healing presence and has no judgment. As hard as that is to believe, we have to keep reminding each other. We are loved because we are loved, because we are loved, because we're loved. That's it. That's it. So may that be so. May that be
Amen.
the peace we can feel in just this moment, right? Keep blowing bubbles.
Keep blowing,
breathing.
Keep breathing.
Keep practicing. And yeah, may all this just flow not only within us here, but as we enter into our circles at work, at home, where, it all gets messy. So stay connected and stay talking about this. Thank you so much, Bill. We need like 3 hours for this stuff. But yeah, I would love to know what the other questions were. Chris, the music helps too, so I'm going to hand it off. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, real quick
Thanks,
before
Jen.
we,
Thank you.
Yeah.
another round of applause. Thanks, Jen and Bill and Melissa. This would be a great moment, if you would, to find those little basket bag things on the floors. On the floor? I guess it's kind of floors. It's kind of fair, right? There are multiple sort of levels. I'm just going to own that. Find the bags on the floors. And it's a great place for your communication cards, or if you happen to bring financial gifts to support this community. If you're a guest, just know that you are our guest, and that's not something that we expect of you. It's a way to really more deeply invest in this community. What else? Let's stand up and just sing this last song together. This is well, it kind of builds on what Melissa just said of none of us being an island. Is that Thomas Merton? I don't remember who that quote's from. But yeah, the song is called No Man is an Island. We sing No One is an Island, so you'll kind of see that throughout there. But yeah, feel free to move a little bit. I know I'm a small band today, but I won't run, I will stay. I'm not leaving you. I know there's what makes us new. I wish you never thought you had to go. I wish you never thought you had to leave. Together we can lift each other up. We can build a shelter for the weak. No one is an island we can be found. No one is an island, let your guard down. You don't have to fight me, I am for you. We're not meant to live this life alone. Oh, oh, oh. I see fear in your eyes, there's no safety here. Oh, my friend, let me in and I will share your tears. I wish you never thought you had to go. I wish you never thought you had to leave. We can always lift each other up. We can build a shelter for the weak. No one is an island we can be found. No one is an island, let your guard down. You don't have to fight me, I am for you. We're not meant to live this life alone. Oh, oh, oh. Trouble, rain, or fire, reach out to something higher. Ain't no life outside each other. We are not alone. Trouble, rain, or fire, reach out to something higher. Look into one another. Not alone. Trouble, rain, or fire, reach out to something higher. Let's open to one another. Not alone. Trouble, rain, or fire, let's reach out to something higher. Let's open to one another. We are not alone. No one is an island you can be found. No one is an island, let your guard down. Please don't try to fight me, I am for you. We're not meant to live this life alone. Oh, oh, oh. No one is alone. Why you trying to fight me? We don't have to do it alone. We don't have to do it alone. We don't have to do it alone.
Goodness. All right, stay standing. We're going to be out of here. We've got the candles. We've got each other that helped us stay warm. We hope the school's heat starts working for the kids tomorrow. And however old you are, I bet you heard something this morning. I want you to think, what did you hear this morning that you will take and try out and practice this week? You don't have to say it out loud, but in your head, have that, try it, talk about it with someone, how it went, okay? So the homework for grown-ups is up there. Kids, you have your own. I think everybody did something with bubbles today. So make sure to ask about bubbles and have a really great day. And please feel free to come up and ask Jen and I questions and help each other out this week. Thanks, Fabric. Take care.